Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Yarn Thing podcast with Marley Bird. I'm your host, Marley Bird. You can catch the Yarn Thing podcast most Tuesday mornings at 10 o'clock Mountain Time. That's 12 o'clock on the East Coast, 9 o'clock on the West Coast, and 11 o'clock in the Midwest. If you are anywhere else in the world and would like to join us live for the broadcast, please Google what time 10 o'clock Mountain Time is for you. I do live in Denver, Colorado, and you can come and join the fun. Better yet, now that the podcast is on video, it should be really called a video cast or video podcast or something now, but whatever. You can always subscribe to the Marley Bird YouTube channel. Make sure you click that little bell right next to subscribe, and it will notify you whenever I go live here on YouTube or when I post an instructional video here on YouTube. So it's the best of both worlds. It's really a great way for you to be able to stay in touch and keep up with everything that's happening over here at the Marley Bird Studios. Let's say thank you to our wonderful sponsors of the podcast, and that would be Creative Bug, Craftsy.com, Erin Lane Bags, Buffalo Wool Company, Stitches.events, and last but certainly not least, Red Heart Yarns, where I'm the proud national spokesperson. You can learn more about my sponsors by visiting marleybird.com, clicking that sponsor menu, and you'll get a direct link to each one of them. Please go by and tell them thank you for sponsoring one of your favorite podcasts. All right, so today's guest is a favorite of mine. I have been friends with Wendy Bernard, gosh, for several years now. And, it's one of those friendships where you meet somebody and it's just easy. Like everything just kind of clicks and you just get along and everything's wonderful. And like, I love talking to her. I love her work. I love her personality. Just everything about her. I think she's just such a joy. So it's really a big treat to have her back on the podcast today. And this time it's the first video podcast she's been on. So you guys get to see her this time. And we're going to talk about her brand new book, Japanese Stitches Unraveled, which I had no idea she was working on. And it's funny because I saw it on Amazon. I didn't even look at who the author was. I just saw Japanese Stitches. Oh, I'm going to buy that. So I bought it and I get it in the mail. And I was like, Wendy wrote this book? I was like, what is happening? And then like 2 days later, I get like this copy from her publisher of, hey, we want you to, review this book, have Wendy. And I'm like, I have 2 copies now. Like, I'm so excited. So anyways, I'm so thrilled to have Wendy on the show and I'm excited to find out all the history behind this book. So let's say hi to Wendy. Hey, girlfriend.
Hey, how are you?
I am good. First off, thank you for getting up so early. I know it's early there in Southern California.
Not too bad. It's after 9, so it's good.
That's 9. Yeah, but you have to get up early because, getting ready and stuff for the video now, it's not just like, oh, I could just go talk to Marley in my jammies and have my coffee. It's like, oh, I really have to get ready. It sucks. So, Wendy, let's give people a little bit of history about you if they don't know what you've been doing. You're Knit and Tonic knits, and let's talk about it all.
Okay, Knit and Tonic. Okay, that started in 2005. I was just at home with a new baby, and I had nothing to do but take care of the baby. I was bored. I taught myself how to knit, and then I started a blog about it called Knit and Tonic. Well, I do like gin and tonic and knit and tonic, so it all worked out. And before I knew it, I was invited to write a book about knitting and how to customize your knitting, because that was sort of my thing that I did. Mm-hmm. That first book was Custom Knits.
I love that book. And that was, do I say confrontational? That's not the word. Because you photographed everything and they were in swimsuits and stuff. And people are like, why are people wearing knits on swimsuits?
Controversial.
Thank you. I'm like, what is the word I'm looking for?
So my stylist had never styled a knit book before. And because Southern California, and I did a lot of things that were beach and pool friendly, because that's just our lifestyle, it never occurred to us that we might offend knitters. And, what do we do with wool on the beach? People were a little upset. They're kind of sexy shots, and I got a little bit of flack from it, and that was fine because
publicity, man.
Right. There were some accusals about that, but at any rate, it all worked out. It became a very, very popular book, and it sort of started me on my way to my custom knit series of books. And there are 2 others in the series. There's Custom Knits 2, and then there's Custom Knits Accessories. Mm-hmm. After I finished those, I was just sort of sitting around thinking about knitting, and I noticed there's this reoccurring theme in all of my books, and that is that I try to knit things in the round because I like it, and I also knit top down. And so it occurred to me that I was rewriting all the stitch patterns, because right now everything is knit in a flat orientation. You've got a swatch, you know, in the book, and the instructions tell you how to knit this like this. And almost everything I did for these last 3 books, I had to recreate the stitch patterns so that it could be knit in a tube or upside down, so your motif didn't get messed up. And I called my publisher, my editor, and I said, hey, how about if I write a stitch dictionary that converts stitch patterns to top down, in the round, you know, bottom up, and then also in the original form of flat. And it got great reviews, great sales. I'm really excited. Here, I'll grab that one too.
I know, mine's right over here. And I have a digital copy too. I own 2. I own the digital copy and the regular like hardbacks.
This was the first one, and it's called Top Down, Up, Down, All Around Stitch Dictionary. And then the next one, I just wanted to keep doing it, and they were doing so well. People just loved them. And this was called the Knitting All Around Stitch Dictionary. And these were spiral, and they also contain some patterns so that you can customize your own knitting. You can throw in whatever stitch pattern you wanted. But for everything, I offer up to 4 iterations. So you can knit it originally flat, always in the round. And then if we can do it, we would do them top down, so that if you were going to be knitting top down, your motif would be correct. It would, you know, if your heart wouldn't be upside down.
I think they're brilliant. I think they're brilliant. And I loved the custom knits book. Like, not that I want to go back to that real quick, because when when I picked up your book, when I picked that up and I saw it on with, you know, swimsuits, I was like, oh, that's perfect. Like, exactly. So now whenever I go to the beach, I always bring something knit with me. And whenever I sit on the beach with something wrapped around me, because it gets chilly at night or something, I always think about you. That's why I wanted to bring that up. Why? I know. Cause I think it was great. Like, but I love the way you were able to incorporate your style, your environment with how you do the stuff. And then from there, one of the things that I don't know if people think about a lot with you, it always pops in my head, and maybe it's because I'm friends with Amy Singer, but with her book, because she's allergic to wool, you did the tomato sweater. And so whenever I think of you, I think of the tomato sweater, because that was like this, everybody I know was making that thing. And really? It was top down and relatively easy. And so when I think of you, I think of top down, I think of swimsuits, and I think of really great custom fit style. Like I love that you took what you do and you made the stitch dictionaries, because they are key in my house. Like I told you, so I was actually on a trip. I was working on a design and I needed a top down, and I was like, I'm not going to do this. I have books that do this. So, but I'm not home. Right. So I get on Amazon and I'm like, well, which one do I want? I'm just going to buy all of them. So I bought them all on Amazon. So now I have the digital copy and I have the regular copy. So I have them to go wherever I want to go, because they are so useful. Like they are so useful. I'm so glad you did that. So going back to kind of the Amazon thing, like I was there and whenever I see Japanese books, I always buy them because I love Japanese stitch dictionaries. And then I told the story at the start. I saw this. I was like, oh, cool. I'll buy that one. I had no idea it was yours. And I get it. I see it's yours. And I'm like, well, how did she get this going? So tell me the story behind this treasure. Let me click to my camera so people can see. Japanese Stitches Unraveled. I know that's backwards. Sorry, guys. But oh my gosh, super cool.
How did it get started?
Yeah.
Well, this is a traditional Japanese stitch book. A lot of us knitters who write books or who are in this sort of industry, we go to, I know, right?
I have all of them.
We go to shows, and TNNA is just an industry show that not everybody knows about, but they always have publishers there and they sell books. So we don't really sell books there. We pretty much present them. And I always would come across these great books. Oh, and the thing about them is that everything is charted and in teeny tiny little charts, and it's all in Japanese. Now, let's face it. Most of us knitters who know how to use charts wouldn't have too much of a problem with it being in Japanese because it's sort of a universal language to read a chart.
Yeah.
But the way that they present each chart, and this is for you knitters who understand charts, it's too small for you to see here, but if you were to look at it, the Japanese versions of these books, they present more than one repeat. So you've got multiple upon multiple, and you have a hard time figuring out where to start and where to end, right? So anyways, all these years they go by, and these are expensive books, right?
They are.
Expensive books, and I've got a bunch of them, and I would be frustrated using them, and so I'm again sitting there thinking, in my chair, knitting a pair of socks maybe, or some new design, and I again talked to my editor, my publisher, and I said, hey, you know those Japanese stitch books, how great they are? And she said, yeah. And I said, hey, let's give it the treatment that I gave to the other two. And I'll primarily use those stitch pattern books, the Japanese ones, as my source. And so we got really excited, and this was born.
I love it. I think it's so fantastic. Those stitch dictionaries, like just like what you said, they're so small, and I love the fact that they show the multiple repeats because then I can see kind of how they work. But you're right, I'd have to go through and find where it starts and ends, you know. So I would take my highlighter or a colored pencil is usually what I would do, and I would color in, you know, the repeats so I could see where it is.
Yeah.
But I mean, just I love what you've done here with this book, and it's, I mean, it has the words, it has the image, it has the chart. It is just so fantastic. I just got giddy. When I found out it was your book, I was even more excited about it.
Marley, how could you buy a book and not even know who wrote it?
You know what? Because you know, okay, don't you get on Amazon and you just start clicking? Like I just start like it's like the quick buy now or whatever. I just click. Like I just keep doing it. So seriously, that's all I keep doing. It's I'm terrible. So no, I didn't even look because it just nobody else has done it. Like I guess there's one other Japanese book out. Like I bought that one too. I don't know where it is.
It's recently out.
Yeah, recently out.
It's really pretty. Yeah,
it is. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
But you two are the only ones that have done that. So whenever I see a Japanese something or other, I'm just like, oh, cool, this is great. You know, I've never looked because those books, like the one you showed or the one I have, like it doesn't have an author, you know, so I wouldn't know.
Also,
or if it has an author, it's in Japanese, so I can't tell.
Okay, hey folks, listen. They don't have names of stitch patterns either.
No.
161, 162. Now, one thing I want to point out is that I used Japanese stitch patterns as my source, right? And many of them I've never seen before. Many. Okay. Some of them are familiar, but my goal was to take ones that were included in these many books and kind of boil it down to things that are unique to the American eye or the Western eye, I guess. But, you know, nothing is new under the sun right now with knitting, right?
Right.
Yeah, so you're going to go in here and you might say, well, this one actually is really, really cool.
That's beautiful.
Cables. Yeah. Yeah. So almost everyone will be new to most of our eyes, but there are always going to be people who look at it and say, oh, I've seen this one before. But what's unique is that in every case, you're going to have both charts and written. So those of you who prefer written, line by line, they're written out. And then, of course, charted, you know, for those of us who like to have charts. And I use sticky notes to keep my place.
Yeah.
Or I use that tape, that highlighter tape.
Yeah,
so
highlighter tape is great. Well, no, I would end up photocopying, but you know how you photocopy, but you make it into a PDF? And so then, you know, I have lots of copies of extra. Like, I'm like, I want this, you know, this is what I want. Yeah, I very rarely will write my book because then what if you mess up and then you've totally ruined the book? And I don't want to do that. But no, the highlighter tape is brilliant. Like, I love that. It's so great. So how did you break up the book? Like, how did you, walk me through your process. Like, I know what it takes to write a book, not these kind of books. These books are intense. I'm always impressed whenever I see people who write stitch dictionaries because it's just so much work.
Well, the first thing I do is I kind of go through the research phase and I start selecting stitch patterns that are unique. I also include in each book a few or handful of things that you would probably want to use, like a, simple ribbing and stockinette, because you always, let's say you're taking this with you, you want to be able to refer to as many stitches as possible, and including a few basics.
Uh-huh.
You not know off the top of your head how to convert, stockinette. And most of us do, but there might be a simple stitch that some people need to refer to that are easy, that are easy and common. But I kind of just came up with maybe a couple hundred stitches, and then I sort of thought of a palette, and for each chapter we have a color. In this case, we have kind of beiges and cameo pink for the lace, and then we have greens for cables. I like this one.
That's beautiful.
See, I had to come up with many of these names because they're numbers. So in this book, they're kind of goofy names because I'm goofy. And then this one is sort of cool because it's very Japanese looking. This one's, I called it Serpentine Waves.
I've done a pattern with that. I have a hat pattern with that. Yes, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Oh, and this one right here is really sort of gorgeous. This one has tassels.
That's beautiful.
The Japanese book, the stitch patterns, they do some mind-blowing maneuvers with their stitches. They'll wrap the needle around this way and that way and backwards. And so my tech editor, who does all the illustrations and all that stuff, her name's Sue, she's fabulous. She had to make up some interesting little doodads for the charts. Actually, one thing I want to say, though, is that this looks really, really difficult. But once you get rolling and you know what you're supposed to do, it's just so rewarding.
Yeah.
And fun. You just have to take your time on some of these new maneuvers.
I love their use of twisted stitches a lot. They use a lot of twisted stitches, and I think that it brings some sort of like a crispness to your knitting, and it just makes it look real clean and crisp and beautiful. And I think it's awesome. I love this. I know in one of your previous books, did you stick with all the same yarn company again?
This time, yes, I did. I used Blue Sky alpacas. It's now Blue Sky fibers. The reason why I use them is because they have a huge palette. They have the selection of colors. Yeah, amazing. And because I like to section off my chapters by color range, it's easy for me to use them. They have really nice quality yarn as well. Absolutely. And really good to me. So yes, Blue Sky Fibers is the sponsor in terms of yarn for this book, as well as the other 2 stitch dictionaries.
So this is going to be like one of the biggest compliments I can give you as a designer to a designer. Looking through this book, like, gets my creative juices flowing like nobody's business. Like, all I want to do is I want to pick up my needle, I want to pick my needles, and I want to pick up my yarn, and I just want to get started. Like, it's exciting to me. And part of that is the yarn choice and the swatching that you do, because I mean, it just makes a difference. I don't know, it's quality. But that leads me to the swatching question, because I think it was Caitlin who posed the question. No, Brittany posed the question on Facebook of, hey, we have Wendy coming on the show. Do you have any questions for her? And one of them was, you must like swatching because you have to do it a lot when you work on a book like this. Do you have any tips or tricks, or how do you get through the whole swatching process?
Well, okay, I'm a swatcher because I design and knit a lot of things that are body conscious, and when you want something to fit, you have to swatch. Yeah. It's going to take an hour out of your time, maybe less, if you only do 3 measly rows, which would not be nice because they lie if they're only 3. The bigger the swatch, the better. Yes. And if you wash it and treat it like you will the finished garment, hello people, swatch, then life might not be perfect, right? But I am a swatcher to begin with, and the reality is with a book like this, you're going to be knitting hundreds of swatches for each book. I've got space. Yeah, I turn them into coasters. This one is a beloved coaster from my first Stitch dictionary.
I do the same thing.
I
Look,
know.
this is my swatch. Yeah, well, I wanted to find out how I could do like this like kind of placket thing. And so I was like, oh, that's a good little coaster. So I do the same thing.
So swatching, what are my tips and tricks? With this book or all three of those, I had to make a daily goal of how many I would make. The daily goal sort of got washed away because what happened is I might have a difficult one to convert. And so because I would teach myself how to knit this in the round as I knit it flat. And so you're doing a lot of thinking and a lot of, in my case, watching Beverly Hills 90210 episodes because it keeps my brain going. You have to just do it. It's one of those things. When I do knit a swatch, by now I can tell how many repeats I have to cast on for a specific, just by, second nature at this point. But what I do for a swatch is I always have a non-rolling edge. So I begin with 2 or 4 rows of garter. That just means you knit those rows. And then I'll put stitch markers so that the first 2 or 3 stitches of every row are just garter again. So you're just always going to knit them. It'll give you a nice tidy edge. I try to knit at least 2 or 3 repeats because otherwise you can't see what your pattern is unless it's stockinette, and then that's a completely different ball of wax. And I just, I bind off loosely and I wash them and I lay them out. I'm not one of those people who pins things unless it really needs to be opened up. But I will spread it out on a towel and as it dries, walk up to it and keep spreading it out. And that's just sort of how I deal with it. Yeah. I will leave a tail, and this is a little trick. If you tend to forget what size needles you use, this is what you need to do, is you leave a tail, and then you tie a number of knots that corresponds to the size needle that you used on that swatch. So if you used a size 7 US, you would tie 7 knots.
Cool. In
your tail. Another thing you could do is just purl on the wrong side or the right side so that you have a number of purl bumps that correspond to your size needles. That's a little trick for people who forget what size needle they used. Yeah. But this, in terms of swatching, it's just a reality of these books. I don't pay knitters. Typically, I do it all myself. This book was a little tough because I had to have carpal tunnel surgery. I'm one of those. And it was really kind of hard to finish up the last bits because I was recovering from the surgery. But now I can knit like the wind, and it's fine. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, given that you do so much in the round and such, do you swatch in the round also, or do you swatch flat and just, convert or whatever it is that you do?
Well, for me, I know that I'm always going to knit about a stitch tighter when I knit in the round, and most people will. So I don't swatch in the round unless I'm trying to figure out a stitch pattern.
Okay.
If I'm trying to figure out a stitch pattern, it's always good to do it in the round, if I'm also needing to do the stitch pattern in the round. Mm-hmm. But if you're a knitter who doesn't do a lot of things in the round, then absolutely swatch in the round because you will notice a difference. When you're purling opposite rows or every other row in a flat piece, you get a looser knit. But if you're only knitting in a tube, not only will it spiral, but you're also going to knit tighter, at least most people, not everybody. So I just know personally how I am, and I just factor that in. Everybody's mileage may vary on that. Yeah.
I see somebody asked a question, what if you're using a size needle that has like a half, like you're using a 9.5 or 10.5. I don't know what you do, but for me, like I use yarn overs for the 7. So it would be 7 yarn overs. And then if it was a half, I use the purl. So
well, what I do is if I'm tying the knots, I'll tie the 7 knots and then I'll give it a couple inches and then tie another one. So there's a bump there. Or if I'm doing the purl bumps, I'll skip a few stitches and then have just a random purl.
Perfect.
One just to designate that half stitch.
I love it. I love it. Oh my gosh. So another question that somebody had is, because you did use the Japanese Stitch Dictionaries as like a source for some of the patterns, did you list them as sources in the book? Do you have to do that? I don't even know if you have to. Because
you don't have to.
They're stitches.
Yeah, the thing is it's really interesting is I get a lot of emails, not every week or anything, but quite a few emails from people who are fledgling, is that the right word? Designers, beginner designers, even pretty experienced ones. And they'll say, I love this particular stitch pattern in this book. Can I use it in my design? The answer is always going to be yes. It's in the realm of the world, and I can use them as sources. I don't have to list them. It's just one of those things. And yeah, and I don't even know the name of the book anyways.
No, I know. 300. And this is, I mean, look, they're both 300, but this one's crochet and that one's knit. So see, you wouldn't even know. You know what I mean?
I've often thought of doing a crochet book like this.
Oh, girl, you totally should. You totally should. Like, these, I'm telling you, my crochet, I mean, look, I've got one marked because I'm working with something right now, but I use these all the time. Actually, let me grab something. I want to show you something that I did. So one of the things, this actually is, oh, I got to take my headphones off. Hold on. Talk amongst yourselves. Okay, so one of the things that I absolutely love about the Japanese is they do not distinguish between knitting and crochet. Like, it is, I mean, obviously there's knitting and there's crochet, but it's not like only knitters can do this or only crocheters can do this. It's all in one. Even in their name for knitting or crochet, it's called amimono. Like, that just means knitting and crochet for them. So a lot of their books, and I know you know this, Wendy, so I'm kind of telling everybody else, a lot of their books will have knitting and crochet together, whether there's a bunch of knit stitches and there's a bunch of crochet stitches. Then there's some where they have knitting with some crochet with it. Like, they don't, it's not like the sharks and the jets in the Japanese culture. Like, it's just not. So like this book, this is one of my favorite books, and I made it like this. And I have 2 copies. I have another copy where the binding is still on it, but this is what I did. This is $120 book. I took it to Kinko's. I had the binding cut off. I had the front pages laminated, and I had a coil bonding put on top so that way I could flip it, you know, right? Because you couldn't put it on the side because see how close the instructions are to the side. So I was like, well, there's all this room up top. I'll put it up top. But I mean, this is how much I use these books. I use them all the time. And the reason I wanted to show this is because it has, like, you have the really pretty knitting ones, but then at the back, there's all this crochet also. And it's fantastic. So I think you could totally do a crochet one.
I guess I'd have to learn how to crochet.
I could help you with that.
No, I know how to crochet. I do. I don't know if I know it well enough to convert patterns, but you know, I did kind of teach myself how to knit. So
you could do it.
I could probably, yeah.
You could totally do it. And the thing is with crochet charts, they're so intuitive. Like, they're so much more intuitive than knitting charts because here's the stitch and it's pointing directly to where you need to put the stitch, which is so important because in crochet, you can put that hook anywhere. Like, there's no holds bar. You could go 5 rows down and do a stitch, or, you know, like, I think that's what scares so many people.
Well, I will say that in the Japanese stitches, we sometimes will dip our needle 5 or 6 rows around the back side too. And that's pretty common. This one right here, it's called Flower Bud Texture.
Oh, yes. That's so pretty.
Super simple, but it's just different from what we've seen. And this is a situation where you take a loop from another area and pull it through, and it just gives it this nice little texture.
Right.
Yeah.
So as you were working through some of these, like, what are some of the other ones that are, and I hate saying the word abnormal, but maybe that's not what I mean. I don't mean like they're bad. Like, what are some interesting ones? Maybe that's a better way to say it.
This one I named Gothic Arches, seated Gothic arches.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Isn't that gorgeous?
Oh my gosh, that's so pretty.
Look at it. It is huge.
Yeah.
So,
but it's because the seed stitch, right?
No, it's because there's so many stitches in one repeat.
Oh my gosh.
And you're going to see that a lot in this book. In a lot of the Japanese stitch patterns, they do that.
Yeah.
But in this book, I selected some of the real interesting ones that were also larger. This sort of thing, you would be limited. Well, that's the wrong side. You'd be limited because it could be a scarf, or it could be a panel up a sweater front.
Yeah.
But because, and this is fine yarn, I think this is knit maybe on a size 2 or 3 needle.
Ooh.
So look how big this is.
Yeah.
So Yeah, that's kind of one of my favorites. I think that's a unique one. Let's not
so
say
pretty.
normal. Let's say unique.
Unique. That's a good word. See, I struggle with words sometimes. Oh, that's pretty.
It's a rib, and I call it Charlie Brown.
Yes.
This
Yes.
one would be great for a brim around the hat.
Oh, yeah.
Because some ribs are decorative rather than, one to use to tighten, the edging or a cuff.
Right.
More decorative because they lay flat. This one is stretchy, but it is pretty much just decorative. So you could probably go down a needle size if you want it to actually hug your head here. But I think it's really, really pretty.
That's
and
really pretty.
Another one that's got a long repeat. And so with a lot of the stitches that I see in the books that are Western, they use a smaller number of stitches for a repeat, a multiple.
Yeah.
And with the Japanese ones, some of them are honkin' big.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I like this one.
Oh, that's really pretty. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, so this one's another kind of large format. Can you see it?
I can. It's a little bit glary because of the light, but it's beautiful. Yeah, there you go, right there.
I'm trying.
That's really pretty.
Yeah. And this one is a cable. Can you see the cables? A smaller.
Yes.
I call them tipsy cables because they look a little drunk.
I love it. I love it.
And so cool. One thing you'll notice in this book is if there's a left-leaning cable or something, I also will provide right-leaning so you can mirror things.
Cool. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. So here's a question for you. So the piece behind you is really pretty. That is gorgeous. And obviously that's a fairly large, again, a large motif, stitch pattern. But I love how you used it across instead of up and down. Yeah.
That pattern appears in this book. And if you can see, oops, I marked it even for you.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
I'm trying to get it so it's not glary.
Yeah. It's really pretty. Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
That is so pretty.
That's a side-to-side cable, and it's intentionally way oversized. And it just sort of is one of those things you could throw on, or you can, make fancy if you want to go out.
Right.
But I always wanted to try a cable that was sideways. And
that's cool.
Everything is knit sideways.
I think it's beautiful. I love it. And I love that it's oversized because, I mean, that's so huge right now. Everybody loves, no pun intended, right? Yeah. But it is. It's like such a big deal right now. I love this. I love this. So when you have all these swatches, what do you do with them? Do you mark them and just save them for other projects?
I've got a million of these little index cards that say the names of them because when you shoot the pictures of them, God forbid you label them wrong because you will. For each book I have just a big box filled with the swatches, and like I said, the ones that I really love I turn into coasters. Then they're just sitting there, and I think what I want to do is start separating them out by general size and make some Afghans out of them. And
that's a good idea. That's a good idea. I love it. I love the, how do I say this? I love that you have incorporated some of the really unique stitches in this book. Like I'm looking through and I'm seeing some unique stuff. So like, what am I trying to say? For the chart readers out there, when they come across a stitch that maybe they've never seen before or a symbol, do you have a special place of instructions in the book for them to go, okay, so what is this symbol? I need to know what I'm doing here.
Yes.
Okay.
In the very back, there's a section that has special techniques and symbols. The symbol key is on 279, Marley.
Got it.
And that will tell you what to do. The following pages are abbreviations. And within each pattern, if there's a maneuver that's a little weird, underneath the chart itself, the actual instructions are there.
Perfect.
There's multiple places. It's very convenient, and it's kind of a no-brainer.
Right. That's awesome.
It's all there. With the Japanese books, I don't know if you've noticed.
They'll have the symbol, but then
in the very back, it's got, you've got all your stitches, and then we've got all these little symbols like, woo, woo. Yep. Where my needles need to go.
I'm always flipping back and forth. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing.
And I took Japanese in college.
Oh, you did? Oh, not me. My extent of Japanese is amimono. That's all I got. That cracks me up. This is so pretty. I love this. So what's been the response so far? I mean, people have got to love this. I love it. I think it's brilliant.
It came out today.
Just today?
Today. This is my pub date.
Oh, that's so great. That's so great. I love it. Oh, I can't wait for people to get this. Like, it's so awesome. I have not had my coffee yet, and you can tell. For yarn stores who might want to carry this book, where would they go, or who would they contact?
Well, Harry Abrams or Abrams Books. They've changed the name sort of. So Abrams Books published this so that you can contact them. They will give you distributors depending upon where in the world you are. For those who are purchasing a book themselves, you can go to Amazon, barnesandnoble.com. You can go to a physical bookstore that carries craft books. It's, like I said, it's available worldwide. Where else would you buy a book, Marley?
I don't know. I'm either at the yarn store, Barnes and Noble, or Amazon.
Yeah. So those are the ones. And then, of course, directly from Abrams, you can get the book as well. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be available digitally. So we're all good.
It is available digitally. I have it. I got it on Amazon. I really did. I'm not even lying. Like, I really did. I bought it.
I'm surprised that you got it already, because the actual pub date is today. Sometimes they pre-release things.
Yeah, I got it up. It had to be last week before last, whenever I was in Charlotte last. So the end of April. I was there at the last day of April, but I bought it when I was in Charlotte.
It's really, really weird. A lot of people ask me this, or they say, "Oh, aren't you so excited that the book's coming out?" I'm one of those process people where I really enjoy working on the book. I enjoy doing the swatches. I enjoy watching reruns of 90210 and just immersing myself in the difficulty of it. And just, these are puzzles.
Yeah.
And once it's done and it's here, I'm already finished with it. And so I get kind of disconnected, and then they say, "Hey, tomorrow's the pub date." And I go, "What book? What are you talking about?" It's not a year ago.
Yeah.
It takes more than a year to get a book done. And I took this manuscript last year, and it's just now coming out. So it's kind of one of those interesting things.
How long did it take you to work on the book?
I'm going to put some more light in the room. How long did it take me to work? Is that better?
Yeah.
They gave me, this one was a quick one. I think I only had 8 months.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. For that many swatches, that's fast.
Yeah.
Whew. That's good though. It's so awesome. I love this. I mean, it's right up there with the quality of work with your other books that you've done. Like, it's amazing. It really is. It's so good. I love it so much.
And there's another one I'm talking about with my editor.
Oh, I was like, okay. I thought you were going to say today. I was like, I don't have another book for you today.
No, I'm talking to them about another one that's similar, not sort of. I can't tell, but
good.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense that you should be working on all of these things. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention that you do have classes at Creative Bug. Since they are a sponsor, I want to make sure that if you guys want to check out some of Wendy's teaching and stuff, you can always check out Creative Bug. Sign up for their
and craft.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say them too.
Yeah.
So if you sign up for Creative Bug, they have their, you sign up and it's an unlimited, and now Craftsy has unlimited as well. So you could check all of that stuff out with them. All right. So you take a breather, and we are going to give away a free copy of the book to somebody who's listening live. So if this is the first time you have ever watched the Yarn Thing podcast, welcome. We are glad you are here. We are blessed enough here on the podcast to have guests that come on the show and give away prizes. We usually get a prize, give a prize away to those of you who are listening live. You have a chance to win. And then for those of you who are not able to listen live, there's always a chance for you to win as well by leaving something on or comment on the show notes. So here, for example, right now, if you are watching live right now, today, May 15th, May 15th, 10:48 a.m. Colorado time, I want you to leave a comment in the chat room that says, I want to win. You also need to smash that like button of this podcast, and please hit subscribe of the Yarn Thing or of the Marley Bird YouTube channel. So leave your comment. I want to win. I'll randomly select a winner over there here in just a couple minutes. So I'll give you a chance to leave your comments there as you're doing that. So while you guys are leaving those comments, I'm going to let you know that we have the show notes posted for today's show already over on marleybird.com. Those of you who want to play a drinking game, start taking a drink every time I say marleybird.com. Because you'll go to marleybird.com, you'll click on the drop-down menu for podcast or blog. Either one will get you there. You'll see where it says show notes, and you'll find the show notes for today's show with Wendy Bernard. In there, you'll see a bio of Wendy, links to things where if you want to follow along with her, my affiliate Amazon link, Craftsy, Creative Book, all that stuff is all right there. So anything you want to know about Wendy is in the show notes. At the bottom of those show notes, you'll see where it says leave a reply or leave a comment. And that's where you will literally leave a reply or leave a comment on marleybird.com. In those comments, you want to make sure you use the keyword that Wendy will give us here in just a minute. And that is your sort of like your golden ticket. That's your proof that you watched today's podcast. Then in about 6 to 8 weeks, it's all varies depending on my travel schedule, we will select a winner from those comments left on the show notes on marleybird.com. Why do I keep saying marleybird.com? Because I love your comments here on YouTube. I love your comments on Facebook, on Ravelry, on Twitter, on Instagram. I love them all. But we have to have the comments in one place for us to be able to randomly select a winner. We can't go between all the different places. So if you want a chance to win a copy of Wendy's book, you must leave your comment on the show notes for this show over at marleybird.com. I hope that that's clear. I mean, it's really simple. If you're watching live, great. Post that you want to win. And then after you do that, go to the show notes, leave a comment using the keyword Wendy's going to give us here in a minute. And that's all you have to do. Then just sit back and wait to see if you win. So a little while ago, we had Lee Santori on the podcast, Lee Santori for Happily Hooked. And she is giving away, let's see, her comment giveaway, it's 6 issues of the print edition bundle of Happily Hooked magazine. And all she's doing is she's giving that away to one lucky winner who left a comment on the show notes. And that lucky winner is Amber Joy Barnes. And your comment was, I am happily hooked to watch you and Marley. Keep up the good work. And the keyword was happily hooked. See how she used it there? Really simple. And she left the comment on the show notes on marleybird.com. So that's how that all works. Really simple. So we will send Amber an email, get her mailing address and stuff so that she can get the information or we can give the information to Lee and have the prize sent out to Amber. It's that easy. So, Wendy, having said all of that, what is your keyword?
Should it be a phrase or just one word?
Whatever you want it to be.
My phrase is, swatching is your friend.
Swatching is your friend. Okay.
Well, otherwise your knits won't fit. Right?
I totally agree. Trust me, I swatch diligently. Actually, there are a couple of really famous designers that I'm shocked that don't swatch. I'll tell you their names later. But I was shocked. I was like, really? You don't? They're like, no, I just go for it. Like, wow, not me, living on the edge. So anyways, swatching is your friend. Make sure you incorporate that into your comment. And their comment should be left on the show notes, which are available at marleybird.com. All right, so that's the last time I'm going to say marleybird.com. Gotcha. Okay, so those of you who are listening live who have worked with me here and left your comments, let me come over here and randomly select a winner. So many of you, by the way, Wendy, so many people are leaving comments about how excited they are about this book and that they love these swatches and everything looks so beautiful. So people are really excited about this book. It's pretty. Oh, and there are people saying yes, make a crochet book. Oh my gosh, please make a crochet book. Like there's many comments like that. So just thought I'd let you know. All right, so I'm just scrolling up and down, and I'm gonna stop wherever my cursor stops. And the lucky Lori Larson, you are the lucky winner. Let me see. So, Lori Larson, you are the lucky winner of a free copy of Japanese Stitches Unraveled by Wendy Bernard. Congratulations. All I need you to do is email me winner@yarnthingpodcast.com. Winner winner@yarnthingpodcast.com. And I need your mailing address, your phone number, and then are you sending that out or is your publisher sending it out, Wendy?
Publisher, from what I understand.
Yeah, so I think you just need those two things. If you send those to me, I'll send those off, and the book will be on its way to you. So congratulations, Lori Larson. Thank you for watching today. It's so exciting. And don't forget, you guys, you still have a chance to win. Just go leave a comment on the show notes and make sure you use the key phrase, swatching is your friend. I love it. So fun. All right, so what is next for you? I know you just said you're talking to your publisher about a book. Are you just kind of just riding the high that is finishing a book and having it coming out?
Yeah, pretty much. It takes a lot out of me to write these books. It's a lot of intense thinking and a lot of work where my brain is just in this one realm. And so right now I'm just I don't know, enjoying not working too much. I do want to start doing some one-off designs again. I had taken quite a break, probably a couple-year break from that. And I would like to publish some just independent designs. But now that we're talking about another book, it's going to claim a lot of my time, just the reality of it.
That's so cool. I love it. I love all the work you do, and I love these books that you put together because I think they're brilliant. I definitely don't see you nearly enough because you don't travel around nearly as much as I do, but I wish I got to see you more.
Well, I have family in Denver.
Well, I knew that, but I don't get to see you when you're here.
I know, because we're usually just busy, or we go skiing. Well, we don't really ski, but we'll go do the snow stuff,
Yeah.
But you're not here either in Southern California.
No, I'm not down there very much. I'm in Northern California every month, just for in and out. But
on Creative Bug, I see you on Creative Bug. It's crazy how you just fly out and do your thing and then fly back home.
I love doing it. I think it's fun. I love the Creative Bug people. Like, they're some of my favorite people in the whole world. But I will tell you, it's exhausting. Like, getting on a plane early in the morning, I kind of get a relaxation. I essentially I get to go have lunch in San Francisco, do my Creative Bug thing, get on a plane and come home. Yeah. And it's so, as much fun as that is, it really is fun. And sometimes I'll take my mom, and I've taken my dad, I've taken John, I'm like, let's go have lunch in San Francisco. But it's exhausting. You get on the plane to come home and I'm toast. I'm so tired.
Well, you have a big family. See, I have a small family. So I don't really like to travel too much because I'm a homebody.
Yeah.
And I love where I live.
Yeah. Well, I love where you live too. It's so great. I was talking to John about wanting to go back there. Not this year, but next year. So maybe the next time I'm there, we can actually get together this time. Say hello. It'd be fun. All right, Wendy. This is so much fun. I love it. Let's tell people where they can follow you if they want to just hang out with you a little bit more. I know you spend a lot of time on Twitter, and you do have Ravelry. Obviously, people can check out your designs on Ravelry.
Yes. I'm on Twitter. That's where I'm pretty active, but I don't post daily or anything. But Twitter's a good one to follow me on. It's at Knit Tonic Wendy. And then Ravelry, I think, is Wendy Knit Tonic. I kind of twisted that one up. I don't have a Facebook page. I just never got that started. Then knitandtonic.net is my blog. You can go there, and I think that I've been blogging since, 2005. So there's a lot of material there. There's a lot of patterns. And then I think I said Ravelry. Is that it? Oh, Instagram.
Yes. Oh.
I'm on Instagram too.
Yeah.
More personal stuff, but if you want knitting content, go to my blog on maybe Twitter. Those are the best.
Okay. Perfect. Somebody is telling me to tell you that you have the cutest dogs.
Oh. Right.
I know. And they also, there's one other question here. It says, where is Wendy's favorite place to sit and write your books?
Oh, actually, where I'm sitting.
Yeah.
See that chair behind me? I sit there. And all my junk is there, and it's a small little studio I have here, and I'm in here, and I've got the TV, and like I said, I'm watching 90210 reruns, and that's just how I get my work done.
I love it.
I love it. At night, I'm really good. I just get up in the morning and I work until I have to pick up my daughter from school, and I'm pretty much done for the day. So it's about 5 hours a day.
That's perfect.
When I'm working on it.
Yeah. That's perfect. Well, I love spending time with you. I wish I got to spend more time with you. This has been so much fun. I love this book. Go out there and grab this book, you guys. Japanese Stitches Unraveled. You aren't going to be disappointed. I promise you. And then if you happen to win the book, you could just give it away to a friend because you're going to want this book. Don't wait. Just go get the book now. You're going to love it. Wendy, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Marley. Really enjoyed it.
All right, everybody, that's it for the show today. Next Tuesday, I will actually be at Creative Bugs. There will not be a podcast because I'll be on the plane flying to California. So you will be able to join me over on the Creative Bug Facebook live feed. And that's at 4 o'clock Pacific time. So 4 o'clock Pacific time, I'll be on the Creative Bug live feed. And we're going to be talking about kids' crafts. So you definitely want to join me over there. We're going to have a lot of fun with Faith. Just have a good time. We always have a good time. So no podcast next Tuesday, but you can join me over on Creative Bug Facebook live page. And then we're back here on the 29th. And we are talking to, are you ready? Signature Needle Arts. You are not going to want to miss that podcast. They are fantastic people. We have wonderful prizes. So you want to make sure that you join me on the 29th to talk to Signature Needle Arts. Some of my favorite needles. They're absolutely fantastic. All right. So let's say thank you to our sponsors one last time. Thank you to Creative Bug, Craftsy.com, Buffalo Wool Company, Erin Lane Bags, Stitches.events, where we are going to be at Stitches Midwest in the first part of August. And so I will be sending out my links for all of my classes here soon. So make sure you've signed up to the Marley Bird newsletter so that way you get up-to-date information. Also, here's a little tidbit, you guys. There's a contest with the teachers. The teachers who get the most clicks on their links wins money. So if you could help me out with that, that would be really awesome. I'm just going to throw that out there. So help me out a little bit. So that's Stitches.events. And then last but not least, Red Heart Yarns, where I'm the proud national spokesperson. And it's the home of Marley Bird's Chic Sheep Yarn. All right, guys, that's it for today's show. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.